All right, shalom, shalom. For the foremost, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Kakadash, was give all praise to the Heavenly Father, in the name of the Son, who were ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ, as well as say in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, I also want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, as well as say shalom to the hopeful elect, or I can put his word true and sincerity. Lord willing, let's be edifying. Not sure I'm entirely yet, but basically I want to go into, how this you can't be you can't really complain or be too mad about the condition, the state that we're in right now as a people, man. All right, the Israelite man, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. We're catching hell right now. We're being we're being punished ultimately for our transgressions against the Heavenly Father, and ultimately, the Most High is one who made us go off. All right, He made us go off so that way He can teach us about sin. All right, so we could know why His law, statutes, commandments was set up. Okay, but and of course, scriptures talk about in Ecclesiastes 7th chapter, about surely doth oppression make a wise man mad. So it is written that the men of the Lord will be vexed. Scriptures also about loving your life now into the death. So I want to grab it real quick. So I want to butcher it. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 11. It says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death." Right. So it's more. Let me grab Ecclesiastes real quick too, since I mentioned it, because the scriptures do talk about they speak about the mindset of the men of the Lord, right? What they would be, and what it will be. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. It says, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." Right. So you're going to be vexed. Scriptures also talk about being vexed by the filthy conversation of wicked. There's multiple scriptures talking about a righteous man hating a wicked world, man, and that's what we're subject to right now. Right now, not only are we in a wicked world, but we're in these chains of darkness, right? This flesh that we're in, we're at a constant war with it every day. Galatians 6th chapter talk about walking the spirit and to not to fight the lust of the flesh. Okay, roughly paraphrasing. So ultimately, we're gonna be, there's gonna be times you're gonna get stressed out. There's gonna be times you're gonna be vexed and just irritated. You're gonna just hate that. You're gonna hate your life, man, because ultimately we're catching hell right now, right? But it's all ultimately, with the suffering we're going through right now is, it is to be made perfect, okay? Ultimately it's the Lord trying our faith and to see if we're worthy of ruling, man, all right? Because the 144,000 men, that's going to be the governing body of the kingdom of heaven, man, underneath Yahushua, man, all right? So, it's not for no reason, all right? You have to understand that, and this is me also speaking for myself. This has been on my spirit heavily recently that, not being, kind of just accepting the fact that it is what it is, man. Okay, you got times, brothers got times where some days are better than others, but ultimately, this planet being here is just, it's nothing for a righteous man in a wicked world, man. Or just put it plainly, but it's all about endurance in the end, man. All right, and he goes to the word enduring and goes into suffering, man. All right, goes to we're being made perfect through suffering. That's what scripture tell you, man. Let me grab that real quick because you got to keep this stuff in mind. You got to even if you know it, it's like things that you've already learned. It's important to go back and the key foundation, the key points and the main the main things you want to make sure you're rooted in and you hold fast to them. Okay, especially these times about to come into. So this is Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, "For it became." For it's like Hebrews chapter 2 verse 10. For it became him for who are all things, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering. Right. So ultimately, we're suffering right now to be made perfect. Right. Was it Psalms 119 and 71 talks about it's good to ye be afflicted so ye may learn my statutes, right? So that's ultimately the whole reason of this, of us catching this hell. Why the Lord made us, why the Most High made us go off in the first place was that we can learn about sin, okay? So it's ultimately none of this in vain, right? All this labor we're going through, it's not in vain. People in this world who are striving for carnal means and trying to be somebody, in Babylon, which people know as America. That's not, all that stuff is vanity ultimately. It's all you labor for a corruptible crown. All the work and diligence you give in this truth, man, and doing the work of the Lord, serving the Father. This is you know, this is what's is gonna pay off in the end, man. All right, and this was what's gonna have the greatest payout, okay? Because ultimately, nothing else matters, and people are gonna see that real soon. Once we come to these times where life as people know it, their routines and everything they're accustomed to, and everything. When it becomes just a dog world, it's just about pure survival. When none of that stuff matters, then people are gonna start to see stuff really clearly, man. They're gonna see, who are the true high value men. People like to say, who are the people who really, you know, what are the things that really matters, man? And that's the laws, statutes, commandments. Those who actually have those who the Lord is dealing with, all right? So actually those who actually serving the Father, because those are the people who are going to be good in these times to come, man. As much as you go through, as the men of the Lord are going to go through, it's still going to, the Father isn't going to leave them, man, right? He's going to keep the spirit on them, and we're going to be able to make it through these trials and tribulations that are coming very soon, man. Let me grab this in Sirach, the second chapter. I can start at the top. This is Ecclesiastes or Sirach, chapter 2, verse 1. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation," right, man? Because, ultimately, once you commit to this truth, man, and all in sincerity, you're going to be tempted, man, all right? You're going to be this, especially being in these chains of darkness, man, being in this flesh, you're going to be, you're going to fall, man. Scriptures tell you, Proverbs 21st chapter about righteous man falling 7 times and getting back up again, right? Oh, so the 24th chapter, 24:16. So, it's like you're gonna go off. You're gonna fall short every here and there, but ultimately, as long as you keep the faith and you stay rooted and you strive to to do the best that you possibly can, then if you were chosen for the foundation of earth, man, then the Lord is gonna you'll be delivered, man. Out of destruction is coming to this place. Verse 2, it says, "Set thy heart aright and consistently endure." Right, we're just talking about enduring, man. What's enduring? Suffering, man. All right, so you're gonna consistently be suffering, man. Consistently being afflicted, okay? Because again, ultimately, this is a punishment for us going off. But even to go deeper than that, because it was the Most High who made us go off in the first place, it was ultimately to teach us about sin, man. So we actually may learn the statutes again, like we talked about in Psalms 119. Verse 2, "Set thy heart aright and consistently endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble." Right, make not haste in the time of trouble, man. So, and the apostles, they deemed this year, last year, the year of hastening was the coming of Yahweh Shem Shah, but, ultimately, you don't want to get too far, you want to make sure you're actually understanding, you're actually in the moment at the same time. You want to actually not just be in a not just be rushing and not just be impatient. That's what I'm looking for. Not just be impatient on what's to come. Revelation third chapter, 3 and 10 talks about here's the patient in the face of the saints when we're talking about keeping us from the hour of temptation. So ultimately you want to be patient, man. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. All right. Scriptures tell you in Habakkuk second chapter that though it come, wait for it. Though it seem to tarry, it will come. All right, it will not tarry. So meaning that eventually the end is going to come, no matter how far, no matter how much it may seem like it's getting prolonged or how long you've been waiting, and you feel like, oh man, when's it gonna come? Ultimately that's all we want. We all want the kingdom, right? More than anything, all right? You truly believe in this, in these words, all right? You truly have faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, and you want nothing more than the kingdom, man. But it's still important that you remember that take one step at a time, okay? Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at the last end, right? So, it's all about cleaving onto the Lord, man. Ultimately, the Lamb, following the Lamb where so he goes, okay? Because, how a sharp brother, that's what's going to deliver us out of, that's what's going to be delivering us, right? The Most High is going to send him back with the fleet of angels, man, and chariots, and that's how we're ultimately going to get out of here, man. Verse 4, whatever so is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, right? And be patient when thou art changed to a low estate, right? Because currently right now, our current state is the lowest we've ever been as a people, man. The Israelite man specifically, man, is the worst ever. This is, we're in pure hell right now, man. People, especially the Christian church and other faiths and beliefs. People have got all these definitions of heaven and hell, but ultimately, what is hell? Hell is a state of being, man. Right now, the state that we're currently in is pure hell, right? We're at the bottom of society, okay? We have nothing, man. We don't own anything. We don't have true dominion over our women and children, man. We don't have control over anything. So, this is the definition of hell, man. Not a place you go and burn forever with just fire all around you. Like, no, that's not what hell is, man. Hell is a state of being. What your daily, what you're faced with, daily, all right. And right now, it's very clear that we are in hell, man. Don't make any more on this. Let me bring verse 4 back in, because whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, right? So take it cheerfully, man, because ultimately, if you're catching hell, ultimately you're the loud prophet, then Lord willing, we're all that number, then you're gonna be delivered, man. Ultimately we're catching our hell now in the hopes to be delivered in a time when the destruction comes, man. Because people who got it good right now, people who are just chilling, they ain't got a care in the world. Those are the people who are gonna have hell to pay when the Lord starts raining down that judgment, man. All right, when the hour of temptation comes. So it's important you take it cheerfully now and rejoice in the fact that the Lord is is dealing with you, right? And you just gotta pray that you endure, that we all endure to the end, and then that you'll be delivered. Verse 5. Let me finish this. And be patient when thou art changed to a lower state, right? So, man, patience, man. Patience is the key, because it's, if you get too anxious and you get too I don't know if desperate is the right word, but you just get too lost in what the whole point of us being in the state is, then you can you'll lose yourself, man. All right, and it'll cause you to completely it'll cause you to uh your faith will start to dwindle, okay? Verse 5, for gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, right, man? So, you know, we're being tried right now, man. Like, we're being tried to go in the fire, right? It goes into this in 2nd Ezra 16th chapter as well, around the 73rd verse, man. It talks about, then that they will know who the Lord's elect are, man, because, we're being tried like gold in that fire, man, to be see if we're worthy or not, man. It says right here, acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, right? So, once you're going through that furnace of adversity, catching all this, going through these trials and tribulations that we're currently subject to, man, that's what's going to prove who's an acceptable man, okay? Um, and Philippians 2nd chapter, right, talks about who's going to be found blameless, okay? Who worthy of the kingdom, right? Luke the 9th chapter comes to mind as well, around the 62nd verse, when it says, "No man who puts his hands to the plow and turn back is worthy of the kingdom, man." So basically, once you come into this thing, once you start, giving diligence to make your call and election sure, then if you go away and you try to go back into the world, man, you're not worthy of the kingdom ultimately, man. That's why it's important just to stay rooted, stay meek, continue to have that contrite spirit, all right. Be repentant and just pray the Lord keep the spirit on you, man. And you know, don't get too high, don't get too low, man. It's all about finding that balance, okay? Proverbs 11 chapter tells you that a false balance is abomination, man. So ultimately, it's about keeping that balance and just having having your faith built up, man, and be able to endure. Okay, so Lord willing was edifying. And the point was made. Just don't don't get too high, don't get too low. Okay, you're gonna some days be better than others, but ultimately, what we're enduring right now, we're suffering, and it's definitely gonna be worth it in the end. Okay, so with that, we say call Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Kakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.